Imagine, you hold the fate of an entire empire in your hands. But to save it, you must shoot your own brothers dead with your own hands, imprison your own father, and carry a stain on your name that can never be erased for all eternity. What would you choose? This is not a fictional movie script. This is the real story of Li Shimin, a prince of ancient China's Tang dynasty, and the impossible choice he made 1,400 years ago. A choice that would become known as the Xuanwu Gate incident, and change the course of Chinese history forever.
Wait, hold on a second. If he was the one who built the empire with his own army, why was he pushed to this edge? Just because he wasn't the firstborn son, he didn't deserve a shot at the throne?
That's exactly the heart of his impossible trap. At the time, China had just emerged from 100 years of brutal civil war and division, and the new Tang dynasty had only just unified the country. Li Shimin's father was the founding emperor of the dynasty, and under the strict succession rules of the time, his elder brother, the crown prince, was the rightful heir to the throne. The problem was, Li Shimin had conquered most of the empire's territory, won the wars that put the dynasty on the throne. He had unmatched military glory, countless loyal advisors and generals who would follow him to death, and the love and respect of the people. All of this, to the crown prince, was an existential threat. So, the crown prince allied with their younger brother, and set a deadly trap for Li Shimin. They slandered Li Shimin relentlessly to the emperor, their father, stripped him of his military power bit by bit, exiled or assassinated his closest advisors, and even poisoned his wine in an attempt to kill him. And the emperor always sided with his eldest son, the crown prince, turning a blind eye to Li Shimin's suffering.
That's a truly impossible position to be in. Every step he backed down, his enemies pushed 10 steps forward. If he kept retreating, he and everyone who followed him would be executed, their entire families wiped out. But if he fought back, he had to turn on his own flesh and blood, and be branded a traitor and a kinslayer for all time. What would you choose if you were in his shoes?
Li Shimin agonized over this choice for countless sleepless nights. His advisors and generals knelt before him day and night, begging him to strike first, to take action before it was too late. But he hesitated. These were his own brothers, born of the same mother. This was his father who raised him. Until he received word that the crown prince and his younger brother planned to have him and all his men killed before they left for a military campaign. The blade was already at his throat. Retreat meant certain death. Strike meant eternal shame.
So he finally decided to strike?
He made his choice, but there was no greed for power in it, only the resolve of a man with nothing left to lose. On a fateful pre-dawn morning, 1,400 years ago, darkness still hung heavy over the imperial capital. Li Shimin led 80 of his most loyal men, and laid an ambush at the Xuanwu Gate, the northern entrance to the imperial palace. This was the only route the crown prince and his brother would take, to enter the palace and see their father the emperor. When the two brothers rode through the gate, and realized something was wrong and tried to turn back, it was already too late. Li Shimin himself drew his bow. The string snapped, the arrow sliced through the air, and he shot his elder brother, the crown prince, dead with his own hands. His most trusted general then killed their younger brother. The coup that changed the course of Chinese history was over in less than 2 hours. When the heads of the two brothers were shown to their armies, all resistance collapsed in an instant.
Just hearing that is chilling. He ended the lives of his own brothers with his own hands, and from the moment he released that arrow, there was no going back for him. Even if he won, he would carry the weight of killing his own family for the rest of his life.
You're exactly right. There were no winners in this coup. On the day the fighting ended, Li Shimin knelt before his father the emperor, and broke down crying in his father's arms. No one will ever know for sure what was in those tears: relief at surviving, grief at killing his brothers, or fear of the future that lay ahead. 3 days later, the emperor issued an edict, naming Li Shimin as the new crown prince, and handing over all imperial power to him. 2 months later, the emperor abdicated the throne, and Li Shimin was crowned emperor, with the new era named Zhenguan. He was only 28 years old. He had gained the highest power in the land, but he had also taken on a burden that would never leave him.
Here's what I've always wondered. History is full of royal siblings killing each other for the throne. Most of them, once they have power, wipe out all their enemies, rewrite history, and paint themselves as perfect, blameless saints. What did Li Shimin do? Did he use his power as emperor to erase the stain of this coup from the history books?
He did the exact opposite, something almost no emperor in history has ever dared to do. He did not slaughter the remaining followers of the late crown prince. Instead, he gave them high positions in his government. The most famous example was the crown prince's most trusted advisor. This man had repeatedly urged the crown prince to kill Li Shimin before it was too late. After the coup, Li Shimin brought him before his court, and asked him why he had turned his brothers against him. The advisor answered without fear, "If the crown prince had listened to me, he would not have met this end." Any other ruler would have had him executed on the spot, but Li Shimin didn't. He saw the man's integrity and courage, pardoned him completely, and gave him a senior role in his government.
That's absolutely incredible. Not only did he not punish the man who wanted him dead, he gave him power and influence. It takes an unimaginable amount of humility and vision to do something like that.
That's what sets Li Shimin apart from almost every other emperor in history. It was as if he spent his entire reign trying to atone for what he had done at Xuanwu Gate. He did not grow obsessed with the absolute power he held. Instead, he reminded himself every single day, the water that carries the boat can also sink it. The water was the people. He cut taxes dramatically, gave farmers land and time to recover from decades of war, and made sure the people could finally live in peace and security. He welcomed criticism, even when it was harsh and direct, even when his ministers shouted at him in front of the entire court, pointing out his mistakes. He listened, apologized, and changed his ways.
But I can't help but wonder, why did he do all of this? Was it because he truly cared for the people and wanted to build a peaceful, prosperous empire for them? Or was he spending his entire life trying to make up for the sin of killing his brothers?
Perhaps it was both. That morning at Xuanwu Gate became a chain he could never break free from. Historical records tell us, even in his final years, he was plagued by nightmares, dreaming of his brothers coming back to haunt him. He even ordered his 2 most trusted generals to stand guard outside his bedroom door every night, fully armored and armed. Later, the people of China painted portraits of these 2 generals and stuck them on their front doors to ward off evil spirits. They are still known today as the protective door gods of Chinese culture. You see, even as the most powerful man in the empire, even as the founder of a golden age, he could never make peace with the men he was that morning. But it was that very guilt, that very weight, that made him one of the greatest emperors China has ever known. Under his reign, the Tang dynasty entered what would become known as the Zhenguan Golden Age. It was an era of peace and prosperity unlike any other, a time when you could leave your door unlocked at night, and no one would steal from you. In an entire year, fewer than 30 people in the entire empire were sentenced to death. Harvests were bountiful year after year. The people lived and worked in contentment, and a once divided China was unified and stronger than ever before. Tribes and kingdoms from all across Asia came to pay tribute, and honored Li Shimin as the Heavenly Khan, the universal ruler of all peoples. With his life, he kept the promise he had made. He gave the people of China a true golden age of peace.
But it still leaves us with an impossible question. He built a golden age, saved millions of lives, brought peace to an entire empire. But he also killed his own brothers, forced his father to abdicate, and seized power through bloodshed and betrayal. To this day, people still debate, was he a great emperor or a traitor and a kinslayer?
That's why this story, even 1,400 years later, still resonates with us so deeply. It was never just a palace coup. It's the ultimate ethical question that every single one of us may face in our own lives. Would you be willing to break your own moral code, to do something you know is wrong, if it meant a greater, more just outcome? Would you raise a hand against your own flesh and blood, if it meant peace for an entire empire? Would you sacrifice the few to save the many? Can a great achievement ever wash away the evil of the means used to get it? Does a righteous end ever justify a dark and terrible path?
This is a real-life version of the classic trolley problem in Western philosophy, but with one critical difference. He was not a neutral bystander. A runaway trolley is speeding toward tracks that hold not just 5 people, but countless lives. His own, his loyal followers, and millions more who would die in a civil war. The other track held his own family, but they were the ones preparing to kill him first. Would you pull that lever? 1,400 years ago, Li Shimin stood exactly at that lever, and he had to make that impossible choice.
And the most fascinating thing about this question is that there is no right answer. Some say he was an irredeemable traitor who killed his brothers and betrayed his father, and no golden age can ever erase that sin. Others say he was a true hero who sacrificed his own name and honor, carried the weight of eternal shame, to bring peace to millions of people, and stability to an entire empire. There is no right or wrong. There is only choice, and the cost that comes with it.
So today, we want to turn this question over to you. If you were in Li Shimin's shoes, what choice would you have made? Do you think the golden age he built was worth the blood he spilled to get there? Leave your answer in the comments below. We read every single one, and we can't wait to hear what you think.
We often say that history is cold, just lines of text in old books. But it's not. At the heart of every piece of history are real human beings, making impossible choices with no right answers. In those choices, we see the best and worst of humanity, the greatness of self-sacrifice, and the pain of being trapped with no way out. And that is what makes history so endlessly fascinating. If you enjoyed this story of humanity and impossible choices, please take a second to like this video. Your likes help more people find this story, and let us keep bringing you the untold, true stories from history. Subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell, so you don't miss our next episode, where we continue to unlock the hidden truths of history, and the impossible choices that shaped our world. This is Unlocked History. Thank you for listening.